Hey friends, it's Dwight. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, it seems like. I know this holiday season can be kind of busy, and so I have a few hours today to do a painting. So I'm going to be working on a 24 by 24 level 3 gallery wrapped Michael's canvas. And I'm going to use my colander today, and I'm going to use colors of, blue and some reds and oranges. So I've been experimenting recently, which you haven't seen because they haven't turned out so great, how I place the colors in the colander. And so since it's a smaller canvas, I'm not using as much paint as I have been on those really big canvases that I use. So placement's really important. And so what I think I'm going to be able to do today is the third and fourth color that I pour are going to be the ones that create the, I don't know what you call it, like the effect that I want to create on the canvas. So we're going to see how that works. You never know because it's fluid art and things are literally fluid and you're not always in control. So I'm going to mix my colors up. I will show you my paints and I'll try to show you the consistency. So before I forget, I just want to remind people how I mix my paints. It's 1 part paint and it could be up to 3 to 7 parts Floetrol. It really depends on the size of the cup. Now, when I'm using my 4-ounce cups, which I'll be using today, it's probably like 2 or 3 parts Floetrol because the rest of it's going to be water. And then a drizzle of Liquitex pouring medium, just a drizzle. You don't need a whole bunch. For the black dump paint, I'm going to be using a 16-ounce cup, and I'll probably fill it to around 12 to 14 ounces. And at the same time, it's going to be more Floetrol because it's a bigger cup. You don't need to add more paint. I use 1 or 2 ounces, and that's about it. Okay, I hope that makes a little bit of sense. You can ask questions below in the notes, or you can email me at dwightpours@yahoo.com. And if this is your first time stopping by, first of all, thank you very much. I have a ton of videos. The ones that say tutorial pretty much are going to show you a little bit more detail about how I mix my paints and when I pour. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It's free. You can click notifications if you'd like. It's no cost to you. It only helps me reach more people. Okay, guys, sit back. I've been talking too much. Let's get started. Okay, guys, here we are. Paints are all mixed. We're about ready to go. As you can see, I've got mostly reds, yellows. I got a brick color in there. I've got some gold, and of course, I've got this blue. So I've been experimenting recently with these pours and trying to find which of these colors in the first 3 or 4 colors kind of create this effect over here on this pour against the wall. So I'm thinking, because I had a failed pour prior to this one, as you can see, I scraped it, and my studio is really messy right now, too much messy for me. But I'm going to do about half a cup of this brick color, half a cup of white, all the blue, all the red, all the gold, the rest of the white, and then the orange, and this sort of reddish gold color, and the rest of that brick. That's about it. There's my dump paint right there. I'm going to be using my small colander. It's right here. It's ready to go. If you're curious, those colanders you can get on Amazon. They come in a set of 3. I haven't used the largest one yet. I usually use the medium-sized one on my really large canvases, and it works really well. So let me show you consistency real quick. This is my red paint. It's got a little bit of copper in it. It should just go right in. So I'll double check those consistencies. Sometimes you have to tweak it, add a little bit of water here and there, but I think this one looks pretty good. So we're gonna get started here in just a moment, guys. Okay, here we are back at the canvas. I've checked the consistencies of all of my paints and they are ready to go. We're gonna give a quick hello before we get started here. Now, since I'm using a 24 by 24 canvas, I wanted to use my small colander. My goal for this pour was to have the blue color, which will be my third color, be the highlight color. So I started with that brick color. I used about half a cup, and then I used a half a cup of the white. And at this point, I just started putting all of the rest of the cups one in after the other. Again, they are strategically placed. I loved this deep red against this deep blue. Something to keep in mind when you're using dark colors is to pair it with a lighter color. So this is Extreme Sheen 24 karat gold, and I added a little bit of white to it just to brighten it up a little bit. So after putting that in, I'm going to use the rest of the white. So I'm really sort of putting a barrier and a boundary between some of the colors. I'm going to go with a sort of orange color. And then with this red color, I added some 24 karat gold to that color as well. And then we're going to top that off with the rest of that first color, which is sort of a brick red color. Now, as I was looking at things, I was thinking, okay, I see a lot of white. And so I was thinking that the colors might be washed out, even though I didn't use a lot of white in this pour. I'm just shaking my colander to get as much out as I can. And then we're going to do the black paint. So I poured the dump paint off center because I'm going to be tilting to the lower left corner on your screen. And this video has not been sped up any. This is the actual speed. As you can see, nice and slow. And there we go. So here we go. We're going to start tilting. Now I want to make sure the black covers the paint, but I don't want it to be so far beyond the color that when it gets to the edge, you don't see any color at the edges. That's a risk that sometimes happens. So I poured a little bit extra over the corners to make sure that they're going to be covered. So I got them over all corners, and I'm just bringing the weight back towards the center. As you can see, the edges are starting to get some color. Sometimes the pearls will open up slowly and sometimes much more quickly. As I was watching this unfold, I was thinking, wait, I don't know if this is going to work. Maybe my black paint was a little too thick. But as you'll see in a moment with the time lapse, that wasn't the case, and all the color comes pouring in. Now I'm using my heat gun just to pop any bubbles, which allows the paint underneath and the color underneath to come in. And here's the time lapse. So as you can see, the blue is starting to fill in. I was really excited when I saw that. And yeah, so we're going to do the wet walkthrough here in just a moment. And we'll see in just a second. Okay, just a few of my decorations I put up. Get ready for Christmas. So let's go into my studio. I haven't checked it. And, oh, that looks good. Look at that. And look at that reflection off of my painting from the window. So, yes, this turned out great. It's still wet, obviously, and it's got some time to move a little bit if needed, and hopefully will dry as is. I don't think anything is going to happen except maybe around the negative space. I may have to trim some things back, but I got the effect that I was looking for. It's not the same as this one. However, I just love the blue and how the blue pops from all those red, oranges, coppers, and gold. I think it turned out pretty cool. I'll show you up close here just so you get an idea of the complexity of all of these pearls. You know how I am about my negative space. I have a few things I can do there. If it stays just like this, it'll be easy. I just want to clean things up and sharpen it up there. Yeah, so let's let it dry. I'll let it sit overnight. And we will come back here, we'll look at it, and we will figure out what the next steps are, and we'll get this project finished. So hold on, let me cue up the next segment. Okay guys, good morning. Hope you guys are great. So I let this sit overnight, and we had some movement in the negative space. That's not uncommon. You know, all these pearls and cells are moving, they're expanding, and since there's no other cells to butt up against in the negative space, they kind of push into the negative space. So I'm going to go in and just clean that up and make it look nice, clean, and crisp. And I want to sort of explain my theory and thoughts. I have a couple of them I want to explain. One is you can see sort of the irregularity. They look like stepping stones. I think it's kind of cool. That, from my experience, typically is what Artist Loft Soft Body White does when I mix it with colors. It just creates a different effect because I have some other pours that, you know, you don't see that. The other thing that I've been learning recently is Floetrol. Not all Floetrol is the same. I'm talking about American Floetrol. I had a batch that I did on a pour a week or two ago that I ended up scraping because the pearls looked like they had, what do you call them, fractals? But my paints, my paints weren't too thin. So it had something to do with the Floetrol, and when it dried, it really looked horrendous, unfortunately. So it was a small bottle, and so I got a bigger bottle, a different batch, and things seemed to work out. But I love this one. Let me walk around. I have such a dirty space. I've been painting for the past couple days. And yeah, just show you some of the details. I think it's really fascinating. I love the starburst effect. I'm gonna call this one Quasar. It just sort of popped into my head. And I am gonna open this up, just make it a little bit more distinct. Like I did on this one, as you can see, it just really sharpened things up. And I think I need that around this space here. So when I get down and get working on this, I will put it on a time lapse so you can just sort of see the process. I've got a lot to work to do because I am gonna really define some of these pearls around the negative space and maybe a few on the inside. But I'm gonna go slow and take my time. So guys, that's what I'm gonna work on, and I will set this up and we'll get done and finish this project. Okay friends, here we are. I am just gonna clean up this negative space to kind of make it crisp and sharp. And as you can see, I'm just sort of rounding the edges, and I'm going to be also those 3 or 4 pearls that are sort of in the middle a little bit, I'm gonna make them more round so they stand out, look like they're floating. And again, just doing touch-ups, making sure that I get all the sharp edges going for you. Okay, let's look at the dried results. Okay guys, here we are. We're completely done. If you watched the time lapse, you saw that I took a lot of the ghost pearls out, and then I made some little individual pearls based on some of the larger pearls that were there. So I'm just loving the color and the contrast with the blue and all those reds, golds, rust color, brick color. There's my negative space. Yeah, so I think this is looking pretty good. All dry, ready to go. Again, here we go, just some close-ups. So friends, this was fun. This was on a 24 by 24 canvas, and I think we're all done. Okay, so hold on, because guess what? There's going to be another video coming up in the next day or two, and I hope you guys are doing well and having a wonderful holiday season.